Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Internet Mexican. This video is going to be a little bit off topic from the channel where I've been talking a lot about Mexican history. Today we're actually going to be talking about a completely different topic. Some of you who know me personally or follow my Instagram Spiked Gaming where I talk about my hobby Warhammer 40,000, you guys know that I'm actually really into that hobby, Warhammer. I got tons of the books, tons of models, video games. This for the longest part of my life, it was my life. I love Warhammer 40,000. So Warhammer 40,000 is actually owned by a company called Games Workshop that's from the UK. And recently during the Black Lives Matter protests, they came out with a statement. In this statement they said, and I'll put it here on the screen so you guys can read along. It says, Warhammer is for everyone. One of the great powers of our hobby is its ability to bring people together in a common cause, to build bonds and friendships that cross divides. We believe in and support a community united by shared values of mutual kindness and respect. Our fantasy settings are grim and dark, but that is not a reflection of who we are or how we feel the world should be. We will never accept nor condone any form of prejudice, hatred, or abuse in our company or in our Warhammer hobby. We will continue to diversify the cast of characters we portray through miniatures, art, and storytelling so everyone can find representation and heroes they can relate to. And if you feel the same way, wherever and whoever you are, we're glad you're a part of the Warhammer community. If not, you will not be missed. Now, obviously, this actually struck a nerve. It pissed off a lot of people within the Warhammer community who find themselves on the wrong side of the community. A lot of the toxic individuals. As much as I love Warhammer, I cannot deny that within the Warhammer community, there exists a lot of racists, misogynists, and overall hateful people. On Instagram alone, where I have my Spiked Gaming Instagram where I post my miniatures and hobby-related stuff, there's a guy who goes by the name Sexy Yellow Guy, has at times been very open about his racism, going as far as to state that Warhammer is a hobby for white people only. So yeah, the community has a very, very toxic aspect to it. Now, this is not a community as a whole, and a huge portion of the community is very welcoming and is very open to newcomers. You know, they're very respectful. However, just like any other community, like Star Wars, like Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, we have our toxic section, and unfortunately this toxic section in Warhammer is incredibly vocal. That being said, Warhammer has stuck by their statement. When they said that they would not be allowing or they would not be welcoming this toxic aspect in our community, they stuck by it, and this time they really pulled through. Anyway, let me switch over to this different view so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So right here we have a statement that was released by Wargaming. Wargaming is a company that makes several games online: World of Warplanes, World of Warships, and World of Tanks. Right? Well, recently on World of Warships and World of Warships Legends, they collaborated with Games Workshop to release Warhammer-themed ships. In order to promote this collaboration, they sponsored a YouTube channel at the time known as Arch Warhammer. Arch Warhammer is pretty influential in the Warhammer community, as he's a pretty well-known lore master, a guy who comes on here on YouTube and he talks about and explains the Warhammer lore. That's actually how I originally found him when I was first sort of getting into the lore. However, over time, he's pretty much shown his true colors. He's at times shown himself to be rather racist. He's been openly pretty misogynist. And as a result, Warhammer, or Games Workshop, has decided that they don't want him affiliated with the Warhammer franchise. And as such, Games Workshop has told Wargaming that in this collaboration that they've done with them to create these Warhammer-themed ships, they don't want Wargaming using Arch Warhammer and promoting this Warhammer collaboration. And this is a statement that was released by Wargaming. Dear World of Warships players and Warhammer fans, due to human error on our side, a rather controversial figure in the Warhammer community, Arch Warhammer, was involved in our marketing activities for World of Warships and World of Warships Legends. While working on our Warhammer collaboration, we were specifically warned by Games Workshop not to work with this influencer, and we agreed to it. Thus, we ended up sponsoring the person we don't want to be affiliated with and failed to fulfill an important and rightful request of our partner. We take full responsibility for this incident and sincerely apologize to you and to Games Workshop for letting this happen. We are against any form of discrimination. Once the issue became evident, we have terminated the partnership with Arch Warhammer and ceased the sponsorship. We also sent a request to take down the promotional video. To avoid such incidents in the future, we will ensure our internal communications are improved and the influencers we plan to work with are vetted better. Best regards, World of Warships and World of Warship Legend teams. So this guy, he's lost his sponsorship because he is a controversial figure. And the reason he's controversial is he has said some pretty racist shit in the past. He has said some misogynistic shit in the past. I started moving away from watching his videos when he started sprinkling a lot of like alt-right bullshit in his videos, getting into these really stupid misogynistic rants as to why women couldn't belong to such and such faction or whatever the fuck. And then he has another channel that I believe he calls The Lounge, where he just talks about his political views, which, I mean, he's entitled to, but he made a video about DACA that I had responded to. I don't know if I re-uploaded it onto this channel, but it is on my old channel, and where he just has a bunch of ignorant shit about DACA. And at the end, he proposes replacing DACA with a program, and then what he describes as a possible replacement for DACA is literally the fucking DREAM Act. Which, because the DREAM Act didn't get passed, is why we have DACA. I don't really hold it against him, though. I couldn't expect him to know what the fuck he's talking about, considering he's not from the United States. He's from Europe, I believe. He's from Norway, and I wouldn't expect him to be very knowledgeable about American politics or American immigration issues. So I don't really hold it against him. I made the video sort of explaining to him why he was wrong, and I kept it very civil. But anyway, in response to him losing his sponsorship, he actually created a video, and I'd like to sort of watch that here with you guys and go through it and then, you know, make some comments along the way. So if you're interested, let's go ahead and let's go through this. However, I have said that the man is racist, and I do have some receipts on that. So if you're more interested in seeing why this guy's a racist piece of shit, you can go ahead and skip towards the end, where we're going to be looking through some chats from his Discord. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Anyway, this is his video. The video's called "And Then Wargaming Came to My Rescue," which is funny because they didn't. They dropped his ass. But let's go ahead and let's watch this together and let's sort of go through it. I might skip through it here and there because some of his points are sort of irrelevant, but let's go ahead.
I'd like to start by just giving out a huge thank you to everyone. Thank you so much for your massive outpouring of love and support. It is incredibly appreciated. I cannot tell you how much it is appreciated. Genuinely, thank you. It means a lot to me, because I can't lie, it is a little bit mentally draining to be under attack from what I can only refer to as political extremists, essentially, who don't care about any of the consequence of anything they do. They will simply make use of any and all tools at their disposal just to hurt someone they disagree with politically.
People don't necessarily... It's not necessarily that people disagree with him politically. He has said some misogynistic and some racist shit in the past. Games Workshop came out with a statement that basically said Warhammer is for everyone. However, we will not tolerate hatred, prejudice, or general toxicity. And unfortunately, this guy is one of the people who generates such toxicity in the Warhammer community. He's not being attacked politically. He's being attacked because of his toxicity. Because people like him could potentially ruin the Warhammer community by discouraging newcomers from joining. But let's continue.
It is unfortunate that that is where we are today, but that is the current situation, unfortunately.
You're not a victim,
dude. I would also like to give a special thanks to Ace1918, who made a video on this whole debacle, where he added in a very funny picture. I won't spoil it. You'll go have to watch the video linked in the description down below to see it. All I'll say is, it's maybe a hint overblown, but humorous nonetheless, and I certainly approve of the general message at the very least, if not the visuals. And additionally, I also want to give out a thanks because I've received so many messages, so many emails of support, of legal advice, and even representation, etc. It's incredible. And I've also received like posts of social media posts, like screenshots, etc., from people basically saying, I don't like Arch. I don't agree with Arch on many things, but in this Games Workshop is wrong. What they are doing is incredibly dangerous, and this is a terrible thing that is happening right here.
I'd like to see those screenshots because I was on the Warhammer forums on Facebook, the different groups that I'm on there, Warhammer 40k for grown-ups and other Warhammer groups. And it seems like the overwhelming response to him losing a sponsorship here is incredibly positive. A lot of people don't like this guy because he is very toxic. And the fact that he's losing a sponsorship and he's not, being allowed to represent Warhammer, at least in this collaboration between Wargaming and Games Workshop, a lot of people seem to be happy that he's not allowed to represent or to act as a representative for this Warhammer collaboration, because a lot of people don't like him. He is controversial. But the reason he's controversial is because he said racist, homophobic, transphobic, and just generally toxic shit. Which is, I find hilarious that he's acting like the victim here. But so I'd love to see those screenshots of people defending him. I haven't seen any at all. Overwhelmingly positive response to him losing a sponsorship. Overwhelmingly.
And you know what? Thank you. Genuinely thank you. I am for free speech, unlike my opposition. This means that you can say whatever you want about me. You can think whatever you want about me. You can outright hate me if you want. We can disagree.
Arch, what I want you to understand, you should understand this, bro, because you live in the free world just like I do. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequence. You could say whatever the fuck you want. You're totally entitled to your opinion. But once you put it out there, you should just expect and be ready to receive the criticism for what you've said. You said some controversial shit. And just because you have freedom of speech, that's not a magical shield that's going to protect you from criticism, or it's going to protect you from situations like this where the controversial shit you've said will lose you sponsors. It's baffling to me that you're this surprised.
Agree on every topic beneath the stars, but we can still agree on at the very least one thing, and that is that putting the entire Warhammer community in risk due to a personal axe with one content creator is stupid. And just to
this makes me laugh because you feel like you losing your sponsorship here puts the Warhammer community at risk. Get over yourself. You are not that important. You are one of many lore masters on YouTube. Okay. You might be one of the bigger ones. What do you have? Over 200,000 subscribers? But you are not the only one. Okay. Them deciding not to affiliate or associate with you is going to have absolutely no effect on the Warhammer community or hobby as a whole at all. As a matter of fact, if anything, it'll probably have a positive effect if the community disassociates itself from toxic people such as yourself. Because people like you, when you go back through his videos, and you can if you want, go to his channel, it's Arch Warhammer, or now it's just Arch, and go through his videos. When we disassociate from people like you and create a more welcoming environment, we are more likely to bring in new people into the hobby. See, this is the guy that was upset that in the more child-friendly Warhammer adventures that they introduced a character who appeared to be wearing a hijab. All right. This isn't, you not being affiliated with Warhammer is not going to hurt the community. Toxic people hurt the community by discouraging newcomers. The more we limit toxic people and toxicity from the community, the more likely we are to bring in new people.
Avoid any misunderstandings whatsoever. Before we get to Wargaming's malicious compliance, let me just...
God, I fucking hate his little fake laughing, his little fake chuckling, his little Oh god, I hate that shit, bro. This shit is mad annoying, bro. This guy's he's so fucking smug, and I hate that shit.
Give you the precise wording in the strike used against me. I'm not going to show you the whole email because it's filed through YouTube, and the person had to give his name and contact details in that. And unlike the political extremists who are trying to hurt me, I don't want to dox people. I don't want to try and ruin people for things on the internet. That's not exactly my style, shall we say. To quote Anna Kasparian, yes, I am better than these people. So, the precise wording. This mark, referring of course to Warhammer, is being used without permission on a channel where monetized videos are being hosted containing subject matter based on GW's products. Accordingly, such use amounts to trademark infringement, and therefore GW seeks the removal of this mark. That is the precise wording. Now, if they had written, this mark is being used in a channel title, this mark is being used in a channel URL, or anything like that, that would be one thing. But no. Used without permission on a channel. On a channel.
Being used without permission on a channel. That already implies that you're using it in more than one way. I don't know why you want them to like enumerate every single way that you're using Warhammer, you know, in your brand that you've created here. You know, and they're totally within their rights to say that they don't want you using, you know, their trademark or their name in your brand, especially when they don't want to associate with someone like you.
That is an incredibly broad way of wording, and indeed on a channel. My videos are on my channel. The descriptions in the videos are on my channel. The titles are on my channel. By stating this, Games Workshop has now said that any usage of the word Warhammer in context of monetized videos on YouTube that has Games Workshop material in them is now a trademark violation. Incredible.
Also not wrong.
Incredible. Now, I'm no lawyer. All I can say is when my friend Kyle saw this, as I've said previously, he is a copyright agent. When he saw this, his first reaction was, man, this guy isn't very good at his job. Excuse me. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Now, onto Wargaming's malicious compliance and...
Hold the fuck up. He made another video a day ago. Games Workshop employee thinks any use of... He says, it's dangerous to have the wrong opinion. I'm going to have to watch that one later, honestly. It's right there. Let's get on with this one, but I'm going to have to watch that one later. I just have to see what stupid shit he says.
This is actually excellent. So they made a tweet in response to something, not even their own tweet as far as I've been able to see. They made this right here, and this is the tweet version. Let me bring up a larger version so you can just read it whilst I point out the
This is the one we talked about a little bit earlier.
The key is, due to a human error on our side, a rather controversial figure in the Warhammer community, guilty as charged, Arch Warhammer was involved in our marketing activities World of Warship and World of Warship's Legends while working on our Warhammer collaboration. We were specifically warned by Games Workshop not to work with this influencer, and we agreed to it. Thus, we ended up sponsoring the person we don't want to be affiliated with and failed to fulfill an important and rightful request of our partner. That is crucial. Again, if you look up a definition of malicious compliance, you will find this tweet. Because what just happened there is, remember how I talked about how in US trademark law, if you don't protect it, it's gone? Well, my first argument was they've known about me. They've known about me for months and probably years. I can show this via the Warhammer Heroes program where people sent the messages with my name, the full one. I can also show this, by the way, via Creative Assembly. This is now the second of Games Workshop's sponsors stating that yes, they have apparently known about me. Because remember that official CA stream where they said Arch Warhammer is a dickhead? Well, another close partner to Games Workshop that knows about art. Strange. I, of course, also have the email I sent to them, again, with Arch Warhammer in it. And now, Wargaming as well is going, yeah, Games Workshop knows about this guy. They know about this person specifically, and this campaign, by the way.
Yeah, I knew about you too. Right? Knowing about a person and somewhat knowing what they do doesn't mean that they know everything about you. It could have been simply that Warhammer knew, hey, you guys hear about Arch Warhammer? Oh yeah, he's that guy who talks about our lore. He gives a synopsis or whatever about the books that we write. Because honestly, when I first started watching you was when you were talking about the War of the Beast books, and you explained, every book and the plot and what went on, and that's when I first found you. So I knew that you were somewhat knowledgeable, or that you were knowledgeable in Warhammer lore, and as far as you know, that's all Games Workshop knew about you as well. As far as you know, all Games Workshop knew about you was this guy knows about Warhammer lore, and he makes videos about Warhammer lore. Doesn't mean that they knew about all the other toxic shit that you said. And initially, when I first started watching you, you weren't as toxic. You literally stuck to Warhammer lore, and then became more toxic over time. So even if they'd known about you for years, they probably knew when you were just Warhammer lore. And then now, as you've become, started to throw in a little bit of misogyny, a little bit of racism, a little bit more bullshit in there, now they're kind of like, you know what? At one point, he was kind of cool. Now we don't really want to fuck with him. So it's funny that you're like, oh, they've known about... Yeah, of course they've known about you. And now they really know about you, and they don't want to, affiliate with you. Fucking coronavirus got me. So how this constitutes them not protecting their trademark, I don't see that argument there, bro. Straight up. I don't see it. And by the way, Games Workshop is a fucking hawk when it comes to defending the Warhammer trademark and anything affiliated with the Warhammer intellectual property. Hawks.
I was contacted about this campaign in May. And considering the size of this campaign, the custom art assets, the preparations, not to mention the negotiations between the two parties, which apparently has gone so far as to include blacklists, must have taken weeks, probably months.
And that in no way means that it is not possible for there to still be human error, such as the human error which would result in them still affiliating with you despite Games Workshop asking them not to, you smug bastard.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Indeed. Another example of Games Workshop choosing to not protect their trademark according to their own interpretation. Oh my, oh my. I wonder just how long we can prove this has been going on. Because, well, now we know for sure months. We already have circumstantial
You know nothing. You're literally just making assumptions at this point.
evidence of a year, and even more so in the case of the Creative Assembly thing and the Warhammer Heroes. I mean, how long ago was that now? That was absolute ages. And better yet, again, this is an artwork here, they also point out they specifically warned against this particular and they said not to work with him. Oh my, I wonder. Pure speculation, of course, but could they have said something something meaner than that meeting? Could they have accused me of something?
Like racism? Yeah, probably. But considering some of the leaks from your Discord, I don't even think that would constitute slander or defamation, because some of the shit you said, I'm pretty sure, constitutes racism. At very, very, very least, some sort of prejudice.
I mean, we do have some laws surrounding saying things that might make people think less of them, and reasonable people urging someone to not work with someone, for example. That's borderline. That's quite borderline. Of course, I'm sure they didn't say anything like that. After all we have is a statement from...
They called you controversial, and that should be enough of a reason for them to not want to do business with you. Even if you weren't a racist or a misogynist or toxic in some other way, if they just viewed you as controversial and saw you detrimental into the growth of their community, that should be enough reason for them to not want to work with you. I don't know why you feel so entitled to a sponsorship from a Games Workshop or a Games Workshop affiliate. You know what I mean? Like it's funny just how ridiculous this is.
Wargaming indicating that. Wargaming are just Russians.
And
This is beautiful. Like,
I'm not sure what the company being Russian has anything to do with like anything, like at all. And I want you guys to really pay attention to this part of the video because it kind of looks like he wants to cry over losing the sponsor. It really fucking look. Let's just watch it because when I was watching, it really looked like he wanted to cry, and I thought it was funny, but let's go.
all I'm going to say further on the matter is that malice is very difficult to prove.
Unless you got receipts.
And that's my final comment on that. So,
See,
yes,
it kind of looks like he wants to cry.
Thank you, Wargaming. Thank you, you delicious Russian shitlords. Oh, right. Yes. Also, let's read the second part as well because it's kind of fun. We're against any form of discrimination. Coincidence? So am I. I'm a YouTube channel. How would I even begin to discriminate? I mean, I know most people probably don't know what the YouTube backend looks like, but there isn't actually a color filter anywhere. I even made a video literally stating, yes, Warhammer is...
I'm not prejudiced. I'm not racist. I don't discriminate. How could I potentially be prejudiced when YouTube doesn't give me the tools to discriminate against my audience? That's your argument. I can't potentially be racist because I don't have access to the tools that would allow me to be. What? Whatever, dude. Let's go on because this is oh my god.
Everyone, full stop. Unlike Warhammer, the official community, who stated Warhammer is for everyone, but
Warhammer's for everyone, but. And he's going to make the argument that Warhammer is being more discriminatory, or Games Workshop is being more discriminatory by saying Warhammer's for everybody, but. But the but from the Warhammer community was that Warhammer's for everyone but toxic people. Warhammer's for everyone but racists. Warhammer's for everyone but misogynists. You know what I mean? Shit like that. What you're saying, your version here is Warhammer's for everyone, including toxic people. Which, by the way, including toxic people in your community is detrimental for the growth of your community.
I don't add in the but. I say everyone. Literally everyone. In the literal...
Racist, fascists, you're welcome to the Arch Warhammer version of the community. But for the rest of our community, for the rest of us, fuck you. Like Games Workshop said, you will not be missed.
Meaning of the word, I am welcoming of absolutely everyone. No matter what. Your race, your gender, your sexuality, even your political leanings, which is the greatest crime of our current decade.
He says this, but when you go through his old videos, he doesn't mean it. Like I said, in the Warhammer Adventures, which is the more kid-friendly like comic books they make, he was upset that one of the characters appeared to be wearing a hijab. Alright? Whenever we're talking about women representation in Warhammer, he usually goes on a fucking rant. That usually turns into something about female Space Marines. Like, he says he's open to everybody, but when you watch his old content, he's not really. He's kind of a dick.
Okay, it seems. Even that is fine. Hell, I have even allowed, on one occasion, one of the most heinous crimes in human history, namely allowing a friend of mine to paint his cornered berserkers blue, bright blue, mind you, cobalt, and be like, alright, fine, they're devotees of corn.
That is going to go over the head of everyone who is not into Warhammer. He's just joking, obviously, but the reason it's funny is because painting, corn berserkers blue doesn't really fit the aesthetic set forth by the lore, which says they wear like red and gold and bronze and brass and shit like that, right? So, haha, what a funny jest.
Because at the end of the day, it's a hobby. We should all have access to it. Full stop. No buts, no nothing. Everyone. End of discussion. Simple as that. That is my position. It's apparently a very, very... it's an unwelcome position. It's
not. We want everyone to join our hobby. I want more people to like Warhammer. I really fucking do. I want more people to get into Warhammer 40,000 so that I have more people to talk to about it. What I don't want is toxic people in my community that are going to discourage others from joining us and conversing about Warhammer 40,000 or playing Warhammer 40,000 or painting miniatures or playing the video game. We don't need that shit. We don't need toxic people.
It's an unpopular opinion to simply state that a hobby is for everyone. I'm sorry. I'm a very immoral person, clearly, Games Workshop. Obviously, you have the moral...
You are. We're going to get to it.
Saying everyone but...
They do, and we're going to get to it.
Clearly. Wrap it all up. This is fantastic. I could not ask...
We're going to go ahead and stop that there, and we're just going to move on to the receipts. What we have here are chat logs from the Arch Warhammer Discord server. As you can see, that little black square thing, the Arch, that's Arch Warhammer. I wonder if I could zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, here we go. That is right there. That's Arch Warhammer. And we'll go through some of the things he says. Remember, he says he's welcoming towards everybody. You know, he's obviously not a racist. He can't imagine that anyone would fathom that he's toxic. But we'll go through some of these, all right? For instance, let's go through this one first right here. Let's move over. Black history in 3 easy steps per Arch Warhammer. 1, get caught by black people. 2, get sold by black people. 3, get liberated by white people. Any questions? Pretty sure I had a Ching Chong author. Very, very tolerant. Wow. So cultured. Let's see. Ooh. No. The N-word is not a smart creature. Prone to violent outbursts. The black man is just fine. In the immortal words of Chris Rock, then he does the Chris Rock bit. And then this guy says, there are white people and then there are socialists and blah, blah, right? I like how he says it down here, but over here he just says N-word. I guess he assumes if it doesn't end in a hard R, it's not racist. Oh, and they were also the kind of blackies to think paint rendered them invulnerable. Oh my god. I've never heard someone who is not a racist refer to black people as blackies, but whatever. Let's go on to the next one. Here you go. Sammy equals gypsy, but worse. This guy says, oh, Jesus. And Arch says, least gypsies only steal things. Oh, he's not a racist, guys. It used to be legal to shoot them. Time for a field exercise with live ammo. Yeah, but those pesky human rights. And then Arch says, in the 20s to 40s, we were so close to solving the problem. He's not a racist, guys. And reading these comments, I cannot, for the life of me, come up with a reason why Games Workshop would not want this guy affiliated with their brand. Let's keep reading these leaks, okay? Because they get way better. Maybe God does hate yellow people. Unpopular opinion, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, bright side of life. What else? Oh, here, in this one down here, he's being transphobic, as you can see right there. At least now I know why the black chick in Jeddah was so ungodly ugly. She was trans. And then this is the one down here that really fucking, like... Oh, why can't I see it in the chat? Here, let's lift it a little bit. Ah, there we go. Real fascism leads to a utopian state where every member is both spiritually and physically fulfilled whilst leaving in as much luxury as the state can possibly afford. So, Not only is Archie a racist, but he's a fascist. I mean, usually that goes hand in hand. I cannot, for the life of me, imagine why Games Workshop would not want you affiliated with their intellectual property. It completely blows my mind why they would not just want you to be a representative of their brand. Can't fat what? I wonder why. It couldn't be because you're a fascist. It couldn't be because you're a fucking racist. But anyway, tell me, what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I wrong in labeling him the way that I'm labeling him, a toxic, racist piece of shit? Was Games Workshop in the wrong? Was Wargaming in the wrong for taking away his sponsorship? Should that have been protected by freedom of speech? Should there have been no consequences? Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to comment, like, or dislike. Subscribe, especially if you want to know more about Mexican history. I do have more Mexican history content on the way. The next video is either going to be on La Matanza or Mexican repatriation, or even both. I'm thinking about making it a two-part video, so let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Don't forget to check out my other social media, Internet Mexican Show on Instagram. No longer have a Twitter, it got permanently banned again. And TikTok, Internet Mexican. So don't forget to follow me on TikTok so we can talk about Mexican history and other things. And that is the video for today. Have a great day. Have a great 4th of July, guys.